Hey YouTube, this is Poopslag. I wanted to start a development diary for a new game I'm working on called TurboFat, hopefully targeted towards either people who are just interested in the game I'm making or people who might be making games of their own and want to see some best practices in action. So as you can tell, the first thing I've developed is just a vertical gameplay slice using placeholder graphics and placeholder sound effects so you can tell whether the game is fun before you get too far into a project because it's easy to spend too much time developing a game when it turns out the final game just isn't very fun to play. So, like, for example, I had this idea for a game based on Pipe Dream, which would be more action based, whereas Pipe Dream was let's set up a big track ahead of time and watch the ooze go through it. This was going to be more, there's three new things showing up and you have to connect them, and then here's another one, hurry up. And nah, it just wasn't fun at all. It ended up having like no real strategy to it, just sort of route the things where they belong, take a really short path. So, I wish I hadn't put quite as much polish into this before I figured out the game sucked. So before I go into more detail about the prototype, let me explain my game design a little better. Back in the 90s, I played a game called The New Tetris, which was all about taking Tetris, but then instead of incentivizing players to play really fast or to survive a long time, it was more about can you make these 4x4 mono blocks and multi blocks out of Tetris pieces? Can you take a J, L, O, and I piece and mash them together and Voltron them into this big 4x4 monstrosity? Because if you did, you got like 10 or 15 times as many points just for getting a single line. So I always wondered, well, what if you took that concept, but instead of having to use Tetris pieces, use whatever kind of piece you come up with that would really push that box concept to its limit? What would be the ultimate box making pieces? So the set of pieces I came up with was this. If you take a 3x3 square and you try to divide it into two roughly equal pieces, it turns out you can only do that in four ways. You can either carve a Tetris O piece out of it and you're left with this giant L. You can carve a J piece out of it and you're left with this little blobby A looking piece. You can carve a Tetris J out of it and you're left with this lowercase b looking blobby piece. Or you can carve a T out of it and you're left with a U. So those are the only ways you can divide this 3x3 block into two pieces, and that gives you a nice number, which is 8 pieces. It's not like if you take all the possible pentominoes or something where you're left with 25 weird, oddly shaped, jaggedy pieces. This is a reasonable number of pieces that sort of fit together well, and they're a little bit intuitive. So I thought, well, what if you played a game with this and you incentivize the player into making these 3x3 blocks? What would that feel like? Okay, so here's the prototype. You can see I have some of these 5 size pieces and some of these 4 size pieces. And if you match them together and make a little square, it makes you a little square. And that gets you some bonus points. So normally I would only get 1 point for clearing a line, but now I get 5 bonus points. And now here is some more bonus points. So I also realized, well, if you take 3 5 size pieces or 3 4 size pieces and you fit them together smartly, you can make a 3x4 or a 3x5. So why not incentivize that as well? And that makes a big golden square, which is worth twice as many points. So that'll give me 10 bonus points. And this over here will get me another 10. So since these boxes are all size 3 or bigger, they have to be 3x3, 3x4, you're going to have room for 3 of them horizontally in the play field, right? You can make one on the left, one in the middle, and one on the right. So I realized, well, okay, the play field better be 9 then. Nine's a good number. It's not the 10th column won't do you any good, and I don't want to stretch this out to 12, so 9. But then the cool thing that 9 gives you is when you have a playfield with 9 columns and all your pieces are either 5 or 4 in size, it takes exactly 2 pieces on average to fill out a line. So if I drop 2 pieces, I can clear a line, and if I drop 2 more pieces, I can clear another line, and I could probably do that forever if I was really good at the game. So why not incentivize that? Why not say, traditional Tetris says a combo means just clearing a line and a line and a line and a line. But why not say, okay, if you clear a line and then take a break and clear a line after that, that still counts. That's a combo. So that's what I have going, is this will continue my combo. This does nothing, but it's just one piece. That's okay. And then this piece will continue my combo. So that still counts. Clearing 3 pieces at a time, or 3 lines at a time, that doesn't give you any sort of bonus. It's just, that's 3 lines on your combo. Good job.
So it incentivizes you to try to find ways. Not only are you trying to make blocks, you're also trying to keep your combo going by thinking, well, okay, I can't make a block with this piece, but where do I put it so I can continue my combo into more pieces? Okay. This purple can go here to make a block later. This blue will continue my combo. This orange can continue my combo, so my next purple, now I can make a block, So you're trying to do both at once and juggle it in your head. It's a fun little puzzle. All right, so the other thing I realized as I was designing this game was if you're going to incentivize players to create these 3x3 blocks, the pieces are going to need their own movement rules to facilitate that. Because otherwise, you're going to have these frustrating times where it's like, well, I can see how to make a block, but the game doesn't let me make it, So like, for example, this yellow block, I can make that in clear line. That's no problem. But if I was a purple one, I wouldn't be able to do that same thing. And the reason is that the purple pieces, they're shaped weird. The U piece is sort of an asshole. If I put it horizontally here at the bottom, it's going to clear a line, so I can't make a block. And if I put it vertically, there's no room for the T piece to slide past it. So I had the thought of like, well, what if I invent this little like swoosh move where if the T piece has a clear path down there and I do something, maybe it'll just like slide in. It'll just like, whoop, and it'll cheat its way in and work anyways. So I programmed that in, and then I had the question of, well, okay, I programmed it, but like, how's the player going to control that to where it feels intuitive? The most obvious thing would be just to have like a special key they press or something where, oh, they want to swoosh it, they press the swoosh key. They want to rotate, they press the rotate key. But I didn't want to have another key for them to learn. So instead, I bound it to soft drop. So, you start pressing soft drop to drop the piece, and if you're still holding it later, the game realizes, okay, well, you're still holding soft drop, the piece is at the bottom, what are you really trying to do? I get it, you want to like swoosh the piece down there. So soft drop is the swoosh key. The other thing I realized was, okay, if the player's doing a good job, they're making all these boxes, they're getting to the top, eventually it hit the point where like, well, they're all the way up there and they want to keep making boxes. They got a little room, and that becomes a problem because it's like, well, how do I get this blue piece over there? So I thought, well, what if you can just hold the direction and the rotation key and just say, I want the blue piece on the right, rotated clockwise, and it'll just do it, and it'll it'll swoosh in there, or like this yellow piece. No, maybe I'll do the next one because orange piece belongs up there, and you can hold right, and it'll go up there. And then the next orange piece, I can finish off that box by holding right, and it'll just sort of just stretch in there, So you can sort of cheat. You can teleport pieces through other pieces. You can teleport a piece so instead of appearing in the middle, it just like appears on the left or appears on the right. That way you can make blocks in all three columns pretty easily. I'm sorry, make boxes in all three columns pretty easily. The last problem I thought I had to solve, though, was, okay, so what about the randomizer? Tetris uses a traditional randomizer where it just pulls all the 7 pieces out of a bag. At least modern Tetris games do, 7 or 14, and then they give you all this piece and they give you the new set of pieces. If my game naively worked that same way and I just gave you all 8 pieces, you have the problem because the pieces fit together so well, you could just say, okay, well, I put together these 2 blue pieces, these 2 purple pieces, these 2 orange pieces, these 2 yellow pieces, and then I clear everything, and I do it again and again. Like, what stops you from just playing the game really dumbly and always fitting everything together? And I realized, well, what if I use a randomizer to make it so that doesn't work? What if instead of giving you the 8 pieces in a bag, I give you those 8, but then I always give you one extra annoying ass piece where it's like, okay, I got my purples, but crap, you just gave me another box. I already had a box. What do I do with this extra box? Or here you're getting this orange P block, if you want to call it that. Well, we'll have another one. It's like, well, that's sort of obnoxious. Okay, I guess one of these can go to make a 3x3 square. This other one, like, screw you, game. I can't do anything with that. There are clever ways to deal with it. Like, once you learn how to make the 4x3s and 5x3s, you can start putting them in those and playing more intelligently. But it does, the randomizer itself prevents you from playing the game really dumbly and just only making 3x3s and just clearing everything easily. So you have to think a little. The randomizer screws you out of the obvious easy strategy.
The next step after you get that gameplay vertical slice down is you want to get a vertical slice of everything else, meaning stuff like graphics and sound. You want the game to look and feel like how you envision the final game looking and feeling. You don't want to finish 2 years of development and getting everything nailed down only to realize in hindsight, well, those 2 years were basically spent developing a prototype because this game doesn't look like I thought it was going to look. You want to get stuff polished, to where you can look at it critically and realize, well, this doesn't look like polished enough. This isn't a good look for our game. So we'll cover that in the next video. Hope to see you guys then.